Jurassic World had enjoyed 3 consecutive weeks atop the box office standings until finally getting squeaked out by Inside Out over the holiday weekend. I love the movie and totally respect the film for what it is and what it tries to do. I don't think I'm alone either. There's a reason Jurassic World was the fastest to $1 billion worldwide. But enough about how much people enjoy the film. Let's get to just what it is the movie community is hating on. Too fastly paced. Jurassic World is the true sequel to Jurassic Park. A big gripe is that Jurassic Park did things a certain way and it's not like Jurassic Park. To compare certain films that have different characteristics and compare them using indistinct benchmarks just isn't fair to anybody. That appears to be one of the larger gripes when speaking of Jurassic World in relation to Jurassic Park. If you go and check major franchises, it's been done with most of, if not all of, the major franchises that have a giant success to start from. Each of these franchises has a first film with a particular pace. And almost every single time, the tone changes for the sequel. You simply cannot start a series with drawn-out suspense, a slow-moving exposition, and then expect the same thing when going back to that same territory. Most film fans know of the 3-act structure, but there is also another way to look at the structure. It's something to keep in the back of your head for films in general. It is the intro conflict resolution structure, and it's something to use to follow the pace of a film. The intro period of a film usually takes place in the first third. And what that basically means is for a 90-minute film, by the 30-minute mark, you should have a pretty big grasp on what's happening and where the film is headed. And be ready for that meaty part. That meaty part is known as the conflict. When speaking of films like this, like an action-adventure, the conflict portion is all the action. And lastly, ends with the resolution. The resolution can be anywhere. Usually it's only about the last 5% or so of the film, that, just tying everything up and leaving it all in a bow. There's not much to the resolution. Maybe it's 5% of the film itself. Unless, of course, you're speaking of Return of the King, and then the resolution is just about as long as the introduction. Jurassic Park has the tone of a suspense film, revealing moments of the film to be seen in awe as you experience it. The entrance, the gate of the film is not shown until 33% of the film's runtime. Technically, you can argue that this is the start of the conflict period, right down to the imagery and the literal entry in the gate of the park. And symbolically speaking, the fact that the shot appears right at the 33% mark is impressive. But I would suggest that the true conflict of Jurassic Park starts with one of the 2 following scenes. The computer whiz Nedry shutting everything down, thus clearing the path for the dinosaurs. That happens at 43% of the film. Some could argue that that's not true action, it's not true conflict, but it certainly leads to it and it sets up the tone for what lies ahead. I would argue that this is the last bit of the introduction, the last table setting for the film ahead. The second scene, to which the film stops taking a suspense role and more of an action-adventure role. The T-Rex's grand appearance where it throws the goat over the gate and climbs in and everything just runs amok from there forth. That scene happens at the literal 50% mark of the film. That scene happens literally halfway through the movie. With that said, if Jurassic World took half of a movie to get going, in an area that you have seen before and know everything about, what would the complaints be then? Anybody who would expect a sequel to be paced in the exact same fashion as the predecessor just doesn't know film history. It's happened to some of the better film franchises of our day. The 1979 film Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, paced like a suspense, a horror even. Granted, it's a sci-fi horror, sci-fi suspense, but it's paced like a suspense, much in the same manner that Jurassic Park is. I would submit that things don't really get rolling in that story until, the stomach scene, the chest burster scene? Something to also note is the fact that we do not see the alien. We do not get a genuine shot of our alien until the 75-minute mark, or 65% into the film's runtime. Would you wait an hour and 15 minutes in a sequel to see something that you know what it looks like and what's going on with it? James Cameron didn't think you would, and when he made Aliens, he paced it differently. Aliens is actually longer than Alien, and James Cameron gets things done sooner. Aliens is more paced like an action film. Furthermore, the reveal of our great villain for the film is the Queen. That happens at the 39% mark of the film's runtime, and action starts to unfold at about the 45% mark. It's a heck of a feat. It's a longer film and takes less time to get the action going. It happens quite often in franchises. None more glaring than Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. The change of pace from Batman Begins to The Dark Knight is laughable, to be honest with you. Batman Begins does an incredible job of giving us the backstory of Batman and just how this Bruce Wayne character can get away with doing all of this stuff. We get all of that. We get to see everything that he does to become Batman. We do not get a shot of our famous Caped Crusader until the 63-minute mark, also known as 45% through the film's runtime. Nice go. So what does The Dark Knight do to follow up? Just for the record, this is a film that most people consider the best comic book film of all time. The Dark Knight reveals Batman. I don't remember, did anybody complain about how fast The Dark Knight was paced? When you take into account that the events of Jurassic World happen at a sooner pace than Jurassic Park, it falls in line with what we're used to. So the pacing, it cannot be the same, and it isn't, and it is an action movie in comparison to Jurassic Park's suspense/adventure film. Bryce Dallas Howard is poison for film series. That's a pretty bad track record. I got nothing. The film's too dumb. I don't know what people are watching, but the film is quite smart. Perhaps it's holding the mirror too close to your face for you to realize. But I think they're trying to say something with that movie. The homages to the original film are prevalent, whether it be as simple as a t-shirt or right down to a shot-for-shot copy. The film suffers from the very unfortunate fact that it is perhaps just too smart. So smart, in fact, that it's coming off as real when, if anything, it should be coming off as ironic. Does nobody think that maybe Verizon Wireless didn't like the tongue-in-cheek handling of their name use? Too intense a death scene. For those, this is a two-parter here. For those who think that the death scene is too much, I think it's more than that. I think Trevorrow is actually tipping his cap to Spielberg with a Jaws-esque death that happens somewhere in the middle of the film. No real character development. Jurassic World is a monster movie, not unlike Godzilla vs. Mothra and the like, and those movies have never really been big on characters. With that said, though, the two brothers are the main characters of the film. We are with them from the start. There are some family issues, and somewhere in the middle of the movie, albeit a quick throwaway type line, but there is a line where the younger brother confides in the older brother about the split of their family. The older brother acts more of a protector from that moment forward. The older brother tries to win his younger brother over through various attempts. Like I said, it's not that strong, but it's there. This film is simply a monster movie, and it does a fantastic job of that. Is the film fun? Yes. Do people like it? Clearly. The film is beating out some stiff competition. Granted, one could argue that people will go see anything, they'll go see Transformers, but Transformers didn't win 3 weeks straight and barely get beat out the 4th week. When people like something, they go back. Word of mouth powers stuff along. It didn't power along Transformers. For as fickle as movie snobs can be, this film, I think, is just fun and actually a lot smarter than people are giving it credit for. And like I said earlier, there's no way this film could even try to replicate Jurassic Park in any way, shape, or form, let alone the tone. So, as far as the Jurassic Park franchise is concerned, if you are to ask what is the perfect sequel to Jurassic Park, I tell you it is Jurassic World. Jurassic World is the perfect sequel for Jurassic Park.